Warning. You may be contaminated. Warning. Please get into the bubble. You may be contaminated. All right. Now, there's my clever opening for you. What's up there, Broseph? It's your old man. Look at me. You like that? You like this look here I got going on? Look at this. I got the mask. Got the gloves. Right? And I wore the jacket for effect. Because fuck it. You may be wondering why I'm wearing this getup. I come to you reporting from the long distant ages of the past, through the mists of time. Reporting to you from an era wherein pandemic is the word of the day. Now, let me tell you more about it. But I got to get out of this crap because this isn't comfortable at all. It is, however, what I have to wear anytime I go anywhere, into the store, down the street, to anywhere where there's going to be other people. Because we live in, by far, the most interesting times I've ever lived in. And I don't mean that in a good way. Although there's some good things about it. Here, hold on. I want to make myself a little note. So, hey there, buddy. I always want to call you Boo-Boo in these videos because that's still who you are to me. But I suppose I'll probably call you something else when you're older. It's that time again. It's time for our little chat. So, I was going to do, this seems to be happening a lot lately. I was going to do a video about completely different things for you, but then this whole situation kind of came up. And so, what's the mask and the gloves and all that about? Well, although my grandparents may have lived through pandemics, and, what was it? There's typhoid fever. There was the polio pandemic. There are all these different things. This is the first time in my 50 years on this planet I've experienced anything like this. And this is all about the COVID-19 pandemic of 2020. History will be the judge regarding how ultimately serious this was as a situation, but I will explain what's going on with all of that here in a minute. But first, just to rewind a little bit, on a more personal level, you are 18 months old as of like a few days ago, actually. It's April 9th. 2020 right now, and I guess at the beginning of this month, you turned 18 months old, which is just, every time I wrap my head around a month, like, okay, you're 16 months old. To me, you're still 16 months old, because I just lived in denial of 17 months as you grow older and older. And Jesus, you're just so amazing still. I mean, you get more and more amazing the older you get. We're living in the place that, we've been living in for, 6 months now or something like that. I don't know. I'm grateful for that. Grateful that we still get to be working right now, since a lot of people are out of work due to this COVID thing. I'll get more into that. But luckily, the careers that your mom and I have caused us to be able to continue to work. Although there's a higher risk that goes along with that. But you are just developing in leaps and bounds. Your personality gets more and more amazing and effusive and enthusiastic, and yet also contemplative and serious. You roll your eyes at me a lot now, which I suspect I should get used to. I keep on going, like, how do you know to roll your eyes at me? I mean, you give me that, oh, stop being such an idiot look. And I'm like, how do you even know that at this age? Sometimes you are a complete little goofball. Sometimes you're very serious-minded and observant. You still can be very fussy at times. I still struggle with that. You know, I've gotten a lot better at being present with you and being in the moment. I think, from my perspective. You know, I hope that bears out to be true from yours. We shall see. You know, I do so much better now with being present with you in the moment and playing with you. But there are times I still fail. You know, and as a parent, you always kick your own ass for the failures more than you give yourself credit for successes, you know. Last weekend, I felt like a complete failure because it was, you know, I have you primarily on the weekends in terms of primary care, right? Because Pam and I have to sort of switch back and forth given she works overnights, I work evenings, there's daycare, so there's the other factors, but I always try to make an attempt to be there for you and present with you throughout the entire weekend. And last weekend I took you to go running around. We can still go outside in this epidemic, except we can't be around other people except family. But I took you to a particular location to run around, and of course, what did you do? You immediately fall and bump your head and start crying, and then you have a little bruise there. And then the next day, or a couple days later, or it was the next day, you bust your lip because your head is so big, and you just run headlong. Literally, that's where that expression comes from, I guess. I mean, you lead with that head, and you are so enthusiastic, but your feet can't quite catch up sometimes, and so you acquired 3 injuries last weekend while I was on duty, and I felt like a real piece of work for that. I'm a lot better with you in terms of nighttime, although occasionally, this week has been rough with you on the nights, and I feel bad because I kind of scolded you last night, you know, because you kept waking up. For the most part, you sleep more soundly, more regularly now, but you always wake up at least once in the middle of the night for a diaper change. And then you woke up at 5 a.m. and it was just so hard to put you down again or get you back to sleep until 7, which is when your mom comes home from work, and then we usually get you up and ready to go. And, you know, but of course I don't get off of work until late at night. Right now it's 10:30 at night, and I'm doing this, otherwise I would be home right now, but eat by midnight. You know, first off, I get home, I have to clean up the place because your mom goes to work right away, and so then I usually have to, you know, do various house things, and then I'm eating by midnight, and you know, and then sleep for a few hours, and then change you, and then sleep for a few hours, and then wake up at 7 a.m. And then last night you woke up at 5, and it was hard to put you back down, and so I got grumpy with you, and I was like, "Go to bed," like that, and I felt real bad about it because that's not cool, you know. So I still struggle. I just hope to God that overall I do well enough at containing my own frustrations, because the frustrations aren't about you. They're about me, you know, they're about my lack of sleep and my fucking crotchetiness at being 50 years old and the high pressure sort of life that I have, you know. And so that stuff, I hate it when it bubbles up and you experience any of it, and I always feel bad, and I hope I continue to get better at that. I'm better at that now than I was 3 months ago, and 3 months ago I was better at it than I was 3 months before, but I still don't like it when I get that way, because then you cried. You're fussy when I get up, and I said, "Be quiet," and then you cried, and then I'm like, fuck. So those things happen. It ebbs and flows. I continue to try to be the best parent I can be. I hope that I am succeeding. I'm just doing the best I can, right? Let's see. So, we are right now in a set of days which is particularly hectic because it's your mom's birthday on Wednesday. And and I've got some things planned that I shouldn't say here in case I upload this before she. No, I probably can. Because Saturday's day after tomorrow, and that's when I'm going to spring it on her. So maybe I could actually upload this on Friday night, and then it'd be perfect timing. So I blew it on Christmas with your mom because I was just so overwhelmed and frustrated and like poor and all this other stuff, and I didn't really get and put as much energy or time into Christmas as I usually do. So I'm kind of going a little more all out for her birthday this year. So I'm in the middle of trying to make a bunch of plans around that, and she wants to decorate the porch with flowers and get a garden going out there. And we've gotten the front porch a lot more boo-boo certified, right? So you can run around out there, and we still have a ways to go, but she wants to do some gardening and whatnot. So I'm getting her a bunch of supplies around that. I'm going to surprise her on Saturday with a birthday cake or cupcakes. I'm not sure which I'm going to design myself because you can't go and get a birthday cake made right now because of circumstances. So there's all that, and then there's the fact that this video is due, which I don't like lagging on these because I want to get as many of these in as I can and be on time about it. So that's what's going on in this set of days. What has been happening? Well, it is, like I said, April 9th. And right around the end of the year last year, this thing called the coronavirus popped up in China. And I'm saying that like Trump says it, by the way, who's still the president. God dang it. And so that's what that is for reference. He's an idiot and he says it like that. Anyway, this coronavirus, otherwise known as COVID-19, which is, I guess, a version of of SARS and the bird flu. I guess I think it's a flu-like disease virus that popped up in China, and there's still a bunch of uncertainty around. How that happened and what went on. Some people claim that it was from some sort of biohazard lab or secret lab in Wuhan, China, where they devised this virus as a weapon or something to release it on the world. Some people think that it just escaped, like they didn't mean to release it, but it was still designed, and that it made it out somehow into the population and started in Wuhan, China, and moved around from there. Let me get you some stats for it. There's nothing more exciting than watching me type, I know. Okay. So, let me look that up differently there. All right, so, this started in towards the end of last year, 2019, hence COVID-19, right? It's for the year. And at first people around here didn't take it too seriously. I mean, it's just a story on the news. And then, after a while, it started to spread, and then people in Europe weren't taking it particularly seriously. And it spread to Spain and to some other, it spread to every country, but pretty soon we were hearing about massive deaths in China from this, how difficult it was to contain, how communicable and transmittable it is. They didn't take it seriously in Spain, and next thing you knew, people were dropping dead like hotcakes in Spain because they didn't take it seriously, right? At first, we didn't know a lot about the virus. They still are learning about it, obviously. They still don't have a total handle on this. And it spread to Spain. Lots of people died. They didn't take the warning seriously. And then it finally spread worldwide and made its way over to the United States. Probably in January, I would say, we started getting cases diagnosable cases of COVID-19, right? And at this point, as I talked to you on April 9th, we are leading the world. Go USA #1 in corona cases, in new corona cases, right? And right now in the United States, we have 468,000 confirmed cases of the coronavirus. 16,000 deaths or so, 16,679 deaths confirmed from the coronavirus. And worldwide to date, we've got 1,605,277 coronavirus cases, 95,000 deaths. Now, there's a lot of misleading things about that. First off, I'll tell you a little bit about the virus and how it's transmitted and all that good stuff, right? It is airborne. It can, if somebody has it, they can have it for a long time. There are most people, or a good percentage of people who will have it, it'll be mild. A lot of people won't even know that they had it. It won't even touch them, but they're a carrier, right? Or it'll be just like a little slight cold or something, right? But if you cough, and so like, I don't know, I have it, and then I cough, the droplets are such that they suspend in the air for up to 3 hours. Right in that place, that same place, it's in a cloud of virus. And so an hour and a half later, somebody walks through that cloud having no idea that somebody had coronavirus and coughed there, and now they potentially have it, right? So it's very contagious. It is not, it's deadly. It's not as deadly as other things have been, certainly not like the Black Plague or some of these other things. It predominantly is deadly to the elderly and the infirm. Luckily, young people, kids, have a unusually high they're unusually immune to this. They recover well. They haven't had a lot of the deadly or severe health ramifications that older people have had with this, and nobody really knows why that is. It can stay on surfaces for hours and hours and hours. So consequently, everywhere we go now, and first off, our administration, the government, Trump, didn't do shit because he's a moron. He's a moron. The biggest moron we've ever had in the universe. And that lumpy sack of Cheeto cheese has not done. First off, last year he disbanded the pandemic response team that Obama had set up, probably because Obama set it up and Obama's black, and so, he's a racist piece of shit, so of course he disbanded it. But that put us at a big disadvantage, as evidenced by the fact that we're leading the world right now in new cases of coronavirus, right? There's no uniform response. It's state by state. Some states are getting their shit together. California, luckily, is one of those states that's doing a pretty fair amount to contain it. Unfortunately, other states are not. So, you've got Florida hasn't done anything about it, right? So it's spring break right now also. So there's this collusion of influences. So spring break, kids are out of school. They all go to Florida to party. There's no laws there to stop anybody from doing anything. And so they all get together in big masses of people. And next thing you know, they go back to their home states, and now it's spreading even more. California's been different. And it's controversial, the responses that have been taken. But basically, incrementally, things have been shut down and guidelines have been put into place. So, as of last month, we have a shelter-in-place order, which means that we can't go around. First off, we're not supposed to congregate. It started out no more than groups of 50, then they said no more than groups of 10. I don't know what it's down to now, but basically you're not supposed to congregate at all, because that's how it gets spread. So just this week, they shut down all the public beaches, all the trails. You can go out for a walk around your neighborhood or whatever, but state parks, county parks, all that stuff is closed. Shelter in place. Only essential workers need be out and about. So, for instance, thank God your mom and I are considered essential workers because we're part of the healthcare system. So, your mom works as a CNA. I worry about that a lot because she has to interface with patients face to face. And I definitely worry about her. You know, there was a scare all last week for a couple of weeks at her place that one of the elderly patients there may have had COVID. And so she's putting herself in the front line every day, walking in there and doing that work. I'm a little more lucky in the sense that my employer doing what I do, I'm now doing it online virtually. So I'm doing virtual counseling. So really I only see my coworkers, and even then it's sort of a skeleton crew. So I only see like the same 4 or 5 people every day. And, I think everybody's really learning to appreciate grocery store workers who are considered essential for sure, because they are on the front lines, man. Everybody has to go grocery shopping, right? But not everybody is considered an essential worker. I've got a dear friend of mine since high school who recently moved in across the street from us here, from where we live, and which is amazing, and a trip. But she is a restaurant worker, has been for a number of years. The restaurant industry is tanking. Our downstairs neighbors, who are douchebags, but they've been home since this shelter-in-place order came out. A lot of landlords are saying that they'll forgive, or they're going to make payment plans with people who can't go to work, because a lot of people are out of work right now. And again, in my 50 years of doing this, I have never. This is the first time I've ever seen anything like this. All public areas are cut off. When you go out, you need to wear a mask and gloves. So I'm lucky that I stocked up on the masks and gloves early on, because one of the things that's happened here is panic buying. So, for instance, when the cases started breaking out early last month, late February, early March, in the United States, people flipped out and went and bought up everything that you could get at the store. For instance, there is still to this day no toilet paper available anywhere. And it's a mystery to me why people bought up all the toilet paper, except that, the idea of being locked in and to have to shelter in place for a long period of time. But somebody did like an equation about the average amount of toilet paper that these hoarders have bought, and they will never use that much toilet paper in their lives. And meanwhile, there's elderly and infirm people who are high at risk for contracting this disease, who have to go to the store and can't find the things that they need. Purell got sold out. It is impossible to find Purell. This right here, thank God we got some. This is worth the fucking price of gold right here, right? There's such a panicked response to all of this. And we don't have any of the infrastructure in place to deal with it. It's been really, stores have gone to rationing supplies of things. There's a lot of fear. And again, I've never experienced anything like this in my 50 years of living. And it's, there's a lot of opinions around what's going on. First off, this is not, some people, like I said, they think this is a weaponized thing, blah, blah, blah. This would be the dumbest weapon for any, and I'm a believer in conspiracies. 9/11 was an inside job, okay? Don't get me wrong. We'll have a whole thing about that one day. But in this case, man, coronavirus would be the dumbest thing to release as a weapon, because it's indiscriminate. It just targets everybody. First off, it's not deadly enough. And one of the things that's irritating to me is how people are overblowing this. This is not the Black Plague, folks. But it does target the elderly, the infirm, people like my mom, people's parents, people who have asthma or other issues like that. And so it is worth really taking precaution, but people have a hard time finding the nuanced center of any issue. They go extreme left or extreme right. But this would have been a dumb thing to release as a weapon because it's indiscriminate. It's not dialed into any ethnicity or region. It's not deadly enough. It's not containable. It's screwing over the entire economy. I mean, our government, for the very first time ever, is released like I don't know how many $1 trillion stimulus package for people because so many people are out of work. So many industries are crashing. And I don't know where this will go economically or society-wise. For my part, I don't think it was released like that. I think this is absolutely an aberration of the human planet as per regular. I mean, time and again throughout history, these viruses come up. They just develop, man, as part of the human. Not just the human, it's the part of the ecosystem of the world. But I do think that governments like to use these things as a pretext. I think this comes along at a time when it can be used for a lot of nefarious purposes by various governments. I know that a lot of people, and myself included, are a little bit wary about the fact that these precautions and these, this shelter in place, it keeps on getting clamped down tighter and tighter. I mean, it was okay to walk on the beach as long as you kept 6 feet. You have to keep 6 feet away from other people. And as long as you kept 6 feet away from other people, it was okay to walk on the beach. Well, now this week, as of a few days ago, it's no longer okay to do that. Easter is coming up on Sunday, and I think there's some fear that a lot of people will be out and that it could spread even faster. One of the things that bothers me is seeing people not take this seriously and seeing people not wearing their gloves and not wearing their masks and, not taking this seriously, because the longer you don't take this seriously, the longer it's going to take for us to get to a point where we peak and come back down on the other side. China now is already over it. They took the measures early on when it became really deadly to clamp down and stop people. Of course, they took some draconian measures because they're China. But they took some serious measures to make sure that everybody quit associating. And so now they're over the other side of it. We're dragging our feet. And so it's dragging out and taking longer and longer. My hope is that it within the next month, they're talking about May. Hey, scenery change, huh? You like that? Look at me. I'm on the ocean now. So here's what happened. I was recording all that, and because I have a crappy little phone with minuscule storage, I ran out of storage and stopped recording. So I'm here at the office, and I was like, what can I do? This is getting late, and I want to do this, and I also need to get home, and it wasn't going to allow me the time to upload that video and stay here and do the rest of it. So I thought, I will use the online format we are using for the group meetings that I can record, which is called Zoom. It's a program called Zoom, and this is what people see of me. My bosses decided it'd be smart to have this fabulous little thing up behind me. And when there's multiple people here, this, you can see all of it. Wait, where am I? Yeah. But in this format, when it's just me, you can't. So anyway, I'm going to continue on. You get to experience the wonders of virtual counseling environments as I do this. So other places have quashed down on it. We haven't. It's piecemeal at best, and so this is dragging out. And there is concern that this will continue on and that this could be used as a pretext to several things. First off, there's very real concern about Trump and the fact that he's a very dangerous guy. It's a toss-up now, though. Is he dangerous because he's a complete idiot? Or is he dangerous because he's conniving like a fox? I don't think he's conniving like a fox, but I do think he's smart in certain ways. One thing he has not done yet is take this seriously in a way that if he had been George W. Bush, who was a complete knob, he would have. And he would have taken certain steps that he hasn't taken to clamp things down. However, there's also the idea that he's trying to boil us like a frog, slowly. Put a frog in cold water, just slowly turn the water up little by little. They don't realize they're boiling. There's a lot of concern around whether or not he's going to use this as a pretext to cancel the elections in November. Whether or not martial law will come around. I am prone to conspiracies and I'm prone to extreme thinking. And so I am trying to really monitor myself around that and really, not go to those extremes. I don't necessarily think this is something that's going to be used to declare martial law. I think if you try, response has been so bad and so poor and so fumbled, and the death tolls are significant, but not like, this is a pandemic. That word, pandemic. Okay, it is. And it's also maybe twice as deadly as the regular flu. That's not good, but it's not a fucking creeping death either. So I think the combination of how badly he's handled this and the fact that the death tolls aren't going to continue to rise and rise and rise and rise and rise. They're going to plateau at some point. I think people would see through a power grab like that, but I don't put it past him to try. I worry about what the response would be. I think there might be revolution in the streets if that was the deal. But who knows, right? So that's what's going on there. In the meantime, it is a very interesting new world. It's difficult with you because we can't take you anywhere in public, right? I used to take you to, up until just a couple months ago, we would go and do music together, you and me. It was daddy baby day mornings on Friday. So I have you all day Saturday and Sunday, and then on Friday mornings I'd take you out and we would go to music together classes, and then the Discovery Museum. And that was fun and it was good. And it was time that we could explore and bond, and now it's at home and you get bored there easily. So we'll see what happens. It's been, rife with all kinds of anxieties. The other side of this, though, is that there's been another side where people are really coming together. And that's the thing, is that in any given tragedy or environment or situation or challenge, you can focus on all the bad things and catastrophize all the problems that could come out of it. Or you could look at all the possibilities inherent, all the opportunities inherent in that situation. I have clients who go to 12-step meetings, and they used to go face-to-face. Well, they can't go face-to-face now, right? And so they go through this format, Zoom. And there are meetings all over the world. And one thing that's happening is that you have people attending meetings in London from here. Like the client is bored, and at midnight they go to a morning meeting in London or Spain or even in America. Like I have a client who just went to a South Central Los Angeles meeting, right? And you're meeting people from these different cultures for the first time in ways that haven't really happened before. And I think there's a lot of possible positivity that can come out of that. I think there's some positivity that can come out of really the fact that Trump's ineptitude has really shown itself in this. And I think there's opportunity in the fact that people really are looking out for each other in communities. There's videos all over the internet now of people coming together in the ways that they can. And it reminds me of how, whether it's the Gobi Desert or Antarctica or the bottom of the ocean, that in the fiercest, most hostile and extreme environments on this planet, wheresoever life can find a way, it does. Whether it's moss on the underside of a rock in the Gobi Desert, right? Or a piece of seaweed coming up from the ocean floor where there's volcanic activity, or the various insects and things that exist in the Antarctica. Wherever life can thrive, it does. And I look at that to be true with the human spirit as well. Hold on, your mom's texting. Just a second. Okay, sweet pea sounds good, comma, we do. Love you. Sleep tight. Give boo-boo a kiss from Pops. Heart, and then I said, okay. So that's what's going on. There's good things. You can always find good opportunities in situations, and I'm a big proponent of doing that. Okay. The only thing in life that ever matters is what you do next. And so that's how I'm trying to face this. But it is definitely bizarre, strange, and challenging. So I was unsure about what to do the main thing about on this. It's getting a little late. I don't know if I want to make this the whole thing. Let's see here. Let me tell you, I guess, about when I went to Africa. How about that?